Here we
You blew it! You blew it!
This man was a bona fide scrub.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, poor you.
I'm funny how? I'm funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
stupid.
Welcome back to the Participation Trophy Podcast. This is the washed edition. Y'all knew it was coming, man. The 24-hour tape delay in recording after a long weekend. Especially after our 4th of July weekend. That shit sucked every shred of vitality that I possess. And I'm still fucking tired. But I'm glad we all made it. It's been quite the eventful weekend for myself. I don't know about y'all. We'll get into my story maybe in a little bit. I'm actually excited to hear Neil's 4th of July story. Probably some hot game of strip Trivial Pursuit, the American History Edition. But like the strip isn't the guys and girls taking their clothes off. Instead, it's like peeling a strip of string cheese every time you get a question wrong.
No comment.
Jamal was drunk and hungry like every other long weekend extravaganza.
You know,
what time did you finally eat on Sunday, man?
Man, like 3:00, man. I was about to pass out in my voice.
Motherfucker, oh my god, man! Every Instagram story, this motherfucker is just drunk and just waiting for the food.
Hey, wait, man! I'm more than that.
It's all good. No, it's all good. I'm fucking with you. Zane just completely falls off the map during long weekends. Have you guys noticed that? Like in the group chat, like he's not even seeing the messages. Like there's no response. He's just completely like for 36 straight hours. This motherfucker's just AWOL.
The sign of life for Zane is I look for the New Yorker cartoon on the story, and
that's it.
It's not there.
You talking about the New Yorker or the shitty New Yorker cartoons? Those are my fucking favorites.
Yeah, the latter. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
The latter.
I'm gonna pop up with an 80s movie, like clips of an 80s movie. Okay, he's
exactly.
He's good.
Top Gun was on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what the fuck were you up to this weekend besides the?
I don't remember.
Really?
I don't.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
No.
Damn, this man got amnesia after 4 days.
Sunday I was in bed by like 9:30.
Nice. Okay.
So I have a trip this Friday, so I was packing.
You're leaving the country.
Yeah, I went to Cancun on Friday. Yeah. So I actually didn't pack, but I'm just mentally preparing to pack. I do this mental pack for like 3 days where I think about what I'm gonna put in.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at packing, so it's like if I say okay, I'm gonna be there for 5 days, I'm like, okay, so I got to pack 10 pairs of boxers, 10 pairs of socks.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like 5 pairs of workout clothes, and then I don't use any of that shit.
More
the same
underwear to
fucking
go
socks.
in the backpack and the carry-on in case.
You know what I actually do? It's stupid. Instead of like doing my laundry, I just buy new underwear and new boxers, and I keep it in the plastic, and I just throw it in there. I don't know if that's really stupid or really smart. I really don't know.
It's very much a man thing to do.
Yeah, it's a lazy
I don't know
thing.
Any man who says
No, I think it's very stupid.
Yeah, we fuck everything up.
I perpetually overpack. Like,
yeah,
I've been packing
it's ridiculous.
clothes for trips for years, and I'll pack at least 6 or 7 more t-shirts than I should.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that spark in your brain that makes you feel like you're gonna run out of clothes when you
Run out of dumb shit.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Please.
I was gonna say when I went to Greece, I tried to keep everything pretty condensed with the expectation I could do laundry at the different spots. And then I saw the prices for that shit, and I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh, it's insane, especially if you're like you're in a hotel.
It was unbelievable, bro.
Yeah, $20 for each pair of boxers and shit.
But see, I think you just hit it right there. I think the reason why I do overpack is because I never have any intention of doing laundry.
Correct.
When I'm out of town, I never ever have any intention to. I feel like whatever clothes I wear, whatever gets dirty, gets thrown in a plastic bag.
I do the same thing with a plastic bag.
But if you're going like 4 or
Trash
5 days, you shouldn't have any expectation of doing laundry. I was going for like over 10 days. So I thought, okay, well, I can't recycle this shit. But too much shit going wrong. Like I ran out of clothes, and I had a pair of clippers to do, shave my head.
Yeah.
And didn't have the fucking converter shit for Europe.
Oh,
and
the AC
clippers,
240,
man.
120.
clippers almost blew up on the first day.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So off to a great start.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I'm gonna have to worry about. So when I go to summer league, knock on wood, a credential app gets approved. Like I'm gonna be in Vegas for 6 days, and I'm going to Phoenix for a few days afterwards. It's like, do I need to check a bag now? Because I ain't trying to do laundry.
Never.
Vegas sounds like we're all taking a trip. When is summer league?
August 8th through I'm leaving the 13th.
All right,
Nice.
see you there.
Is this your
See you
first summer
there.
league?
No, I went in 2019 before the world
Okay.
shut down.
Summer league is so much fun. It's one of my favorite events.
Always
to
want
cover.
to go. Always.
It's the most laxed environment, and you never know who you're gonna run into. There's so many outside of like former players and coaches that are scouting. They're just catching up with people, with other players.
And those are like random guys that are trying to get back into the league, kind of sort of like fucking
That too.
Antoine Walker was there a few years ago.
The Keyshawn Howard.
That too. But like I remember going back in 2012, and like I have a picture of it on my phone. It's like the circle of people having a discussion. It's like Allen Houston, Kevin McHale, Amari Stoudemire, and like Baron Davis. Like it's the most most random group of guys, and like Kevin McHale. Like I don't know how you fucking got lured into that conversation, but that's how it is every time.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, I covered it once or twice, but so Jamal, back to you. Whose cooking were you waiting on? On Sunday. You can speak in high level terms.
Nah, I mean he's a listener. It's all love. This is my boy Steve.
I'm fucking
He
put
Steve
again. Oh,
Steve,
you gotta get Steve on the show.
I'm trying to get Steve on, man.
Steve is a party animal, man. This guy.
Steve put a lot of preparation into
nice
the 4th. Checked multiple times to see if we were coming. I was like, yeah, we'll be there definitely. Got there, he was fucked up. He was already shrinking. Which you gotta have some before you get on the grill. You gotta get a good buzz. The food hits different. Your cooking hits different when you got a little. Then your blood alcohol count is up a little bit. The problem was, he was like showing me all the shit, and he was like, "Boom, this is the new grill I bought." He won the fantasy football league and bought a big ass grill with the winning money. And he got his big grill called the Beast. And he's like, "Yo, fuck with this," and he lifted the top. And he's like, "What the fuck?" He's looking at the temperature gauge, and the shit wasn't on. He thought the ribs were going for like a couple hours.
No.
So we were already off to a rough start, but that's cool because we had some other shit going, and we had the third grill, which had like the more common stuff, the burgers and the hot dogs. But at a certain point, he was like, "I need you to get on the grill, Jamal, and kind of wrap this up." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I wasn't expecting that, but let me just make my way down." So yeah, I had
does it bother anybody when they get called on the grill?
I'm used to it. Yeah,
me too.
It's kind of
I don't mind it either. Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. I didn't mind. So, I got some smoke in my beard and my fit. I was lightheaded because I was already hungry, but we made it work, right? And
awesome.
Got the food popping.
What kind of big dick energy do you have when you are cooking on a grill that you won? That you were able to buy by winning a fantasy football league.
Yeah,
right?
It's a flex. It's a flex.
It's a flex like shit.
It's a flex because he would be like, "Yo, make sure y'all give me my money because I got something I'm eyeing right now." He's like, "Man, fuck you! Like, take your fucking weak ass $100." But we had a good time, man. It was good catching up. He had been like kind of stacking alcohol. He's got a bar in his basement. He'd been kind of building us collection. So the fact that we were actually able to come over and put a dent in his alcohol, and he's looking to have some more stuff obviously coming up. It was cool. So my godsons, good to see them. I've been seeing them via Zoom for so long. He got 2 little boys. They were tearing shit up, but it was fun, man. We had a good ass time.
That's what's up.
Wish I could have hung longer.
That's what's up. Did you guys stick around for any fireworks? Did you guys light up any yourself? Or?
I had to get back to Woodbridge because I got dogs, so I didn't want to fuck my house up. But we had fireworks out the back here. My
fireworks, gunshots.
Yeah, my block kind of has a whole people kind of just shoot their stuff off in the middle of the street, so it was chill. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, my 4th was actually preceded by my 5-year-old daughter's birthday extravaganza. What did you call it?
I call it the Rock Nation brunch.
The Rock Nation brunch.
That was not a 5-year-old's birthday party, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no shit, man. And here's the thing, right?
Dame Dash was very upset he was not invited to
Right?
her birthday
Yeah.
party. He tweeted about it.
Yeah, man. It was like an all white party at the Hamptons for real, man. Like, it's funny because our community of parents and children, like the crew that we hang out with, they all do the exact same thing for their kids on their birthdays, right? It's like the generic launch trampoline joint or like a kid's gym, which is great, which is fine. It's so convenient. You got a 2-hour window. Kids get to play for 90 minutes and you have the cake and the pizza for like 30, 45 minutes. And that's a wrap. Yeah. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
That does not influence my wife the least bit. All right. The least bit. And it's funny because I always think of when she's going through this, when she's preparing and buying all this shit and all these webs and graphs and all this shit that she's creating to prepare. I always think about, like, what if I was a single parent, right? Like, would I be going through all this shit? Like, is my child, do I love her enough to mow 1.5 acres of grass in Manassas? No, I don't. That's why Miriam did the mowing. Right?
Your wife mows the lawn?
Well, she's detail oriented, so it just makes more sense.
She's very detail oriented. And I always joke about it. I was like, yeah, well, you're showing your feminism right there. You're mowing the lawn. I appreciate that. I agree with that. No, but we obviously I helped in other aspects of the preparation. But that's what we dealt with the entire week, the 2 or 3 days before leading up to the actual party on Saturday. Yeah. And it turned out magnificent. Like I can never paint the image of what she's creating while she's preparing for everything and buying all this shit. But it ended up being, if you saw the Instagram story, it ended up being pretty cool. Yeah. Satisfied Zara to the fullest. I mean, she wanted rainbows and unicorns and friends and pizza and 2 piñatas.
Okay.
So she got all that. July 4th itself was pretty cool. We actually went to Fairfax. Fairfax High School does the fireworks out there by the church. Yeah, so we were out hanging out there by Van Dyke Park. It was last minute plans, but we made it work. The church bell tower was obstructing like half of the fireworks, which was okay because I was bracing myself. I was like, these fireworks better be good. Zara's been waiting for like some real fireworks. We had some, the small ones on her birthday. She wanted the ones in the sky. But by 9 p.m. they were all fucking pooped, and like half of them were on their fucking phones. We're talking about 4-year-olds here.
Yeah.
So right,
5 now.
Yeah, 5-year-olds now. But it was cool. Definitely the highlight time of the summertime season. July 4th, always fun. We're gonna switch gears real quick.
Friends or family to get the illegal fireworks, the stuff that's illegal for Virginia.
We tried. Okay. It's always that trip to Pennsylvania, right? Like
I got some last year, or year before last. But somebody's always coming through with some shit that's probably, like people shoot stuff. It gets dangerously close to somebody's house, like fucking blows up like right on their roof.
Yeah, shout out to that hockey player, man. Not to get all morbid and down on this, right? But that was a fucked up sequence of events there. Yeah. For those who don't know, what was dude's name? I don't want to. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it.
Played for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, played for the Avalanche.
24 years old, young as
24 years old. He was a goaltender. Matisse Kivlenet. Yeah, Matisse. Rest in peace, man. Like this guy, they're lighting up fireworks. They're all in the hot tub. One of the fireworks goes fucking crazy to the point where they felt like they had to run away. He slips and falls coming out the hot tub, and his head hits some concrete, and that's it. I mean, goddamn.
He got hit by fireworks.
Did he?
They initially thought that it was some kind of head injury, but then it was later discovered that he was struck in the chest by fireworks.
That's like
So exactly. Yeah. So I felt like circumstantially the other situation was worse. The first one that was actually reported, like for you to be running out of a hot tub, escaping, some crazy fireworks and slipping and falling, as opposed to actually getting hit in the chest by a firework.
The gentleman, fireworks and alcohol don't mix. People just playing around with that terrible shit in general just doesn't mix. I mean, look at Jason Pierre-Paul, right?
Right.
Remember that whole thing? You still see the results of that to this day when he takes the field. I mean, it's not funny, but I'm just saying, like, we do. Yeah, I mean, there's always like videos of people in DC like shooting shit at each other, like fucking, like cherry, like throwing stuff at each other. Yeah.
It's never funny until the internet pops off and they started to Photoshop like Jason Pierre-Paul's head on Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's such a bad look.
Oh man. All right. Well, glad everyone had a great 4th. Always a highlight of the summer. Speaking
What about
of
me?
Summer. I thought we talked about you.
Did we?
We didn't.
You would have remembered if you talked about me.
Pictionary, taboo.
Yeah.
That's what you thought. We played
And
Jenga.
charades.
No, we played Jenga.
Jenga.
Yeah, we played Jenga where then you write something on the block and it's like an activity you got to do. All right, tallest
Oh
person
my
drinks,
God.
youngest person drinks,
No.
dumb shit like that. So that's what I did on the 4th, and then we went to the mall for fireworks, which were pretty
You
good.
should went down to the mall.
You
I flew
you were
through.
right underneath the fucking fireworks.
Yeah.
That picture you took, like, what the fuck? Were you actually were you part of the staff, like the crew?
Nah, iPhone just got that good zoom in function because I was still probably 2/3 of the way back on the
Oh,
Motherfucker was
early-
making
oh,
motherfucker
okay,
was
okay.
making the fireworks back there.
So we actually lucked out. So I slid through to my friend's place, who lives in Navy Yard. And so we left his place at 8:40, got there at like 9:07. Fireworks started at 9:09. We like scoped out, all right, there's enough grass right there for us to sit down. That shit was great. Then we left 17 minutes later after it ended. So we were in and out.
So that I was gonna ask, it was only 17 minutes. That shit in normal times was like 30, 45 minutes, right?
Right. They cheaping out on us.
Yeah.
Biden cutting back, man.
Thanks,
that budget.
Obama.
That
speaking
it
of that
put off
shit,
light pollution like anything. There was fucking
This-
smoke everywhere.
y'all see that fucking video of all those weirdos at the Walmart in Texas who stopped to sing the
Yeah.
national anthem like in synchrony?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know what initiated that. I think they say somebody started it and everyone just kind of followed suit. That was somebody tweeted, I think it was Shea Serrano's tweet. He was like, this is the beginning of the Forever Purge. The opening scene of Forever Purge.
Yeah. Who's still
Bullshit.
watching these fucking movies?
I mean,
Oh my
it's
God.
yeah, that's just like conservative porn. They
Conservative.
everybody's talking about it on Monday. Hey, speaking of which, you ever go to what is the
Speaking
barbecue
of which.
spot? Hold up, this is relevant though. Damn, it's a barbecue chain that just hit this area. I'm drawing a blank. It'll come back to me. But anyway, they sing the national anthem every day. The staff does at noon. And if you don't if you hadn't been there before, it just really fucking throws you off because I'm in the middle,
Mission
like,
Barbecue?
trying to- Mission Barbecue, yeah. Yeah, they got one in
Yeah.
Woodbridge. Yeah, they sing the national anthem every day at noon. Staff turns, they put their hands in their hearts. They look at a flag that's up in the corner or like
Oh my God.
a broadcast of a flag. But yeah, it's like I felt like fucking Drago and Rocky IV. Like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on? Like, just
Yeah.
trying to get some brisket. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So don't be
Everybody
alarmed if you
go
go-
to go ahead.
Don't be alarmed if you go on mission and that happens like right at 12 o'clock.
This is
That's wild.
this is a inadvertent advertisement for Dickie's Barbecue.
Yes, yeah.
Dickie's Barbecue Pit. They got one in Centerville. Are we fucking done with July 4th? Because I've been trying to transition to the next bit like 3 times.
No, I got 3 more stories. Like,
No, we're good. We're good.
go ahead.
Fuck. All right. Speaking of summertime, fun stuff. The Olympics in Tokyo are right around the corner. Speaking of summertime and smoking weed, that's how I should put it.
Yeah.
This is fucked up. Sha'Carri Richardson. This happened last week, but she tested positive for marijuana, got suspended a month. Initially, the big deal was that it was going to force her to sit out the signature track event that she partakes in, the 100-meter dash, against Jamaica's Shelly Ann Fraser Price, who is the 2-time 100-meter gold medalist.
Who
Now
doesn't
it
smoke
turns-
weed?
Right. Who doesn't smoke weed? Yeah.
Jamaica, man.
It turns out that Sha'Carri's actually been excluded from the entire track roster, the
Yeah.
USA track roster. So,
Mm.
there's been a lot of different conversations revolving the situation, her dealing with emotions, coping with mother's loss. Yeah, that's fine. But my thing is, and I'm going to lob this off to you guys very soon. I want to start off by just saying, for the rules or rules crowd, who's had the loudest voices here, in vouching for the decision, hear me out. Fuck the rule. All right, change the fucking rule. Here's the thing. No shit, Sherlock. We know that it was inevitable that she was going to get punished for violating a rule. For me, it's the existence of that rule being in place in the first place. And if you're gonna enforce some sort of regulation on the use of marijuana, that's fine. You can do it in different ways. Like, for example, why don't you suspend her from all the non-signature events, right? Like the relay event that she was supposed to partake in. If you want to impose some sort of punishment or set an example, to say, and then on top of that, if you're going to use the idea that weed is a performance enhancing drug, like
it's a performance diminishing drug.
No, I know, but I don't know how strong this point was attempted to be driven by the people that made this decision to say that weed provides a benefit to Sha'Carri in her races. Was that like actually a thing that was?
I thought it was just taken under. I thought she got penalized just for under the umbrella of just banned substances. Period. I don't think they really kind of niched it out as a performance thing, because clearly, marijuana is not performance enhancing.
Right.
But that was my view, which is the banned substance. Period. So
and like I said, I get it. She broke a rule. It was inevitable for her to get punished for it. But again, we see the consequence of that decision, right? Like one of the best track runner alive right now, perhaps arguably, is out of the competition for something as trivial as weed, and it is trivial to me. It's just it's nothing to demand that sort of a punishment. Nike expressed support for Sha'Carri, which was cool. There's some funny takes that were taken out of this too. LaMelo tweeted out saying, "If it ain't crack, let her run track."
Yeah.
Did you read Michael E. Dyson? His response to it.
I did. I missed that one.
I'm gonna try to do a Dyson voice here, because you got to quote the whole thing here. Smoking weed ain't the problem. It's weeding out the hypocrisy of a nation that started a war on drugs to justify its assault on black folk, and then blames us for smoking, when what we really need is to smoke out the racism that blunts the lives of too many of our people.
That was pretty fucking good, man. Give me props.
We could joke about this shit, man, but one of the points I wanted to kind of make up or bring up in this discussion, and kind of discussing the racist history of marijuana and the way it was used as a primary tool in the war of drugs, particularly a tool to target Black and brown Americans, and the mass incarceration, cleaning up the streets, and changing life trajectories overall. I mean, these people come out, their kids grow up fatherless, they can't vote. So voter suppression was kind of derived from that whole movement. What's crazy to me is that the same time that this was happening, the war on drugs in the 70s, and I'm sure it was being brainstormed in the late 60s, weed was so glorified amongst white people. We see movies about it, right? During the 60s, the hippie era, Cheech and Chong,
Woodstock literally took place under
everything. Exactly, right? And the same drug that's being used by people of a different color, they're being punished for it. Van Jones had an interesting comment about it on CNN a few years ago when he was talking about him being at Yale, where he was like, at Yale, on campus, people were doing the same drugs that the same the black people were doing just a mile outside of campus, and they were being locked up for it and punished for it. I'm rambling here. Any follow-up thoughts on? Yeah, I mean,
one thought about weed, and we'll get back to Sha'Carri, but what's going to be interesting is, to kind of stretch your point out, how draconian drug laws like really fucked up the black people in general, black community.
Yeah.
But what we're now seeing is this kind of weird incongruence between people who are going to be incarcerated for another 10, 20, serve 20, 30 years for possession with intent to distribute. But now we're, the commercialization and the probably federalization of weed as a legal drug that's probably going to be taking place, provided we have the right administrations in place within the next probably 5 to 10 years. I'm putting money into
sooner.
Yeah, but I'm probably putting money. I'm putting money into companies that I think are going to be involved with, weed logistics and mass like distribution and all that stuff. It's just a kind of a weird kind of time we're living in. As far as Sha'Carri, it's super unfortunate because, let's be real. A lot of people are going to watch the Olympics for her. Just like people watch for Usain Bolt and for gymnasts and all that stuff. Like she was going to be the marquee athlete. Viewership is going to be down simply because of her slip up, unfortunately. What I was thinking about watching her, she did a Good Morning America interview and she apologized and it's just it's really fucked up. But I was like, I kind of wonder what, if any, team had already mobilized around her, because you kind of wonder how somebody didn't kind of catch that shit. Now, you can't police a young adult all the time, but she was starting to get, she was on the cusp of getting some endorsements. Virgil Abloh does Off-White. He made a sneaker for her, and Nike was, they started their partnership, and she was on the verge of getting like some big dollars, and she was going to get all the press because she's going to go there and dominate. I mean, let's be real. So I wonder, like, where her team was, if there was a true management team in place to insulate her, because you're that young, your fucking brain hasn't even formed yet. You're going to make so many mistakes, and you kind of need somebody, some good trusted individuals around you to kind of insulate you from, these types of things. I saw a joke tweet like, her weed man should have been like, I'm not giving you no shit. Like, I'm not selling you shit. You got to go to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? You're going to fuck up your future. And the thing about Olympics is fucking 4 years from now. There's probably another platform, but it's not the Olympics.
There's the World Championships next year.
Yeah. It's just it really, like I said, it really sucks. So I wish her the best, but I just kind of I hope and pray that this is a hard lesson, but hopefully she gets again the right people around her to kind of prevent something kind of similar to this happening in the near future.
Yeah, it's really tough, and I think nobody wants to see somebody at her stature and her potential or her athleticism, her flair, really, to miss out on an opportunity. Because everybody wants to see her, and over something, as Abdullah said, trivial as smoking weed, thing that millions of Americans do, every fucking day. Yeah. But so at the same time, to play devil's advocate, it's just like. Yeah. You can make the exception, and I think there would be a lot of people that would enjoy if they made the exception. But it's like, essentially, you're bending the rules for this one particular person.
No, of course, yeah. And I don't think anybody expects that. Again, my whole thing kind of goes back to the rule itself. And the reason why I bring it up so much is because
it's an outdated rule.
Right, it's an outdated rule, but we're also starting to see some of the policies amongst, the other leagues, obviously the American sports leagues, NHL, MLB, NFL and NBA, to some degree, kind of shift the rules a little bit, make them a little bit more lenient. I know the NBA is one of the leagues that still has weed on the list of their banned substances. Hasn't really budged much on policy.
That don't stop Markieff Morris.
Yeah, exactly. But the NFL has at least kind of reduced the amount of tests that they do on a yearly basis. The MLB removed marijuana from their list of banned substances and now treat it as the same as alcohol. So, they're a little bit ahead of the game there. But what Zane? What
rule is the rule. The rule is the rule.
Yeah, I really,
Jesus.
No, but I guess the question I want to ask you is like, do you feel like weed is that much of a detriment to an athlete's production?
No, the big problem is here, and Neil can find this funny because he watched the Chris Rock specials. They want you to do drugs. They just want you to do their drugs. Right?
Their drugs.
They don't want you to do anything else, and that's the biggest problem. And this kind of happened with the Trent Williams thing, years back when he was suspended for smoking marijuana on numerous occasions. And, you know, a lot of people realizing, well, he's taking it for pain. It's not just because he's a pothead and wants to get high.
Yeah.
It's because it helps with inflammation and it helps with all the injuries he was having. But, you know, the only other alternative for him would be to get hooked on some medication, right? Get some Percocet, get some Vicodin, get some other stupid shit.
Yeah.
So that's the huge problem here. But I'm just saying the rule is the rule because it's the rule. Like Jamal said, like I refuse to fucking believe that this person is a professional athlete who is preparing for the biggest moment in her life or her, you know, career or whatever you want to call it. And there is not somebody there that's not even monitoring, but as an advisor, like somebody who's involved, like,
or somebody says, "Oh, should you smoke? Like, let's get the shit out of your system ASAP." Like somebody that's a trusted
anybody. Like
you can beat the system if it's just a one-time thing.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't even come down to that, right? At the end of the day, like, you know, if you do this, you are gonna get in trouble, right? And like,
there's so much context missing, right? Like, you brought up the weed man, Jamal, right? Like, we don't even know if it's something that, you know, she copped herself, or if, like, you know, she was in a room where somebody else was smoking. She decided to take 3 drags, not thinking none of her people from her inner circle were near her at the time, and she ended up making a bad split-second decision.
That's even more worrisome,
right? Which is more worrisome, right? Which is more worrisome because it's more worrisome because now you feel compelled that you need to have somebody around her all the fucking time because she makes bad fucking decisions, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes it worse.
Yeah. But that's part of it, right? That's why athletes have agents, right? Or athletes have, you know, advisors and say, hey, like, you know, I want to take this pill. Like, is it on the list of banned substances? Oh, well, John, I'll go ahead and check that for you. Like, blah, 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 right? So obviously she knew, right? I mean, I'm assuming she knew. And if she didn't know, that's a failure for her team, right? And it's unfortunate. The only maybe semi-good thing that comes out of it is that it takes this kind of incident for the rules to change, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to fucking change it just on their own. Like, hey, why don't we just take this off the list? It's not going to happen for a long time because a lot of this stuff is changing now, right? Virginia is what? It's legal, you know, to have a certain amount, with an intent to distribute, right? So until everybody comes on board, it's not going to happen, you know.
And we're talking about this is an international organization too. It's not just made up of American representatives. So who knows? It might take even longer for the global stage to come around on it.
Yeah, because some countries are gonna be like, "Fuck that shit."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, these young athletes do some dumb shit, man. It's kind of like LeBron when he decided to do the decision. Like stupid, like the decision. And
well, his agent planned that out,
right? He planned that out, right? And then Rich Paul, like a year later, was like, "All right, we grabbing this motherfucker, man. Like we he's doing some dumb shit right now." There's different perspectives to look at it. One from the decision making that Sha'Carri, fell into to actually decide to smoke weed, and then there's, just the stigma of marijuana that bother as a lifelong pothead. You know what I mean? Like it bothers me, the stigma of marijuana for it for the punishment for it to be as detrimental as it has been for Sha'Carri. So there's different ways to look at it. If there's anyone that needed a post-game fatty rolled up, it was anyone on the Bucks last night that was guarding Chris Paul. Of course, I'm talking about one particular Bucks defender. We got some NBA Finals trophies lined up in open gym. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is in the books. And man, even though it pretty much was like largely all Phoenix last night, it's still like at one point shaped out to be pretty good. Like I might have been really high, but
it was like Bucks, a 10-point game with 4 minutes left.
Exactly. No, well, not even that. Like right around like the 7-minute mark, it turned into a 9-point game, and like that's when you kind of wake up out of your doze a little bit, like, oh shit, oh shit, something's about to happen.
Yeah, it got good, man.
Yeah, it got good. But then Monty Williams took that time out and put the clamps on that shit. That was like, fuck man. This. They ended up winning by 13, 118 to 105. Chris Paul in his bag last night in the third quarter. That third quarter was fun as shit to watch. I know Zane was deep in his lotion. Scored 21 of his 32 in the second half, 16 in the third quarter. Mind you, didn't score a bucket until midway in the second. First. Yeah. Well, I think he might have had some free throws.
I mean, no points in the first.
No points in the first. Yeah. So with that said, without further ado, our first participation trophy for the 2021 NBA Finals goes to motherfucking Brook Lopez. That poor oversized fuck. Consistently switched on to Paul. Couldn't do jack shit about it. You know, like the kid playing musical chairs that like can't find a seat after the music stops. Like that's how Brook Lopez looked as soon as like Chris Paul like dribbled on him twice. Like just
wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble.
Holy shit.
I love seeing big man get switched. That shit is so fucking fun, man. Funny. It's so much fun to watch.
Can't let it happen.
It's so funny.
They always let it happen. I don't understand why. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's got to like, be Zane. It's how easy of an adjustment is it for Budenholzer to say, okay, whatever the fuck we do in game 2, we're not going to allow Brook Lopez to be.
You know, like back in the day, for me, it was a little different because like as soon as a dude would run the pick and roll, like if you went underneath or you didn't switch, you know, like the guy was more aggressive to make a move. But now it's like the pick and roll is such a staple for so many teams. It's just like. All right, he's running the switch. All right, fuck it, let's go, man. Let's go. Like the dude's not even like dribbling the ball. He's just standing there like doing his fucking taxes. And, all right, he's gonna shoot it. Let's fucking switch. So like there was a couple plays where Drew Holiday was like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm staying on it. But they just kept running it over and over again until the motherfucker switched. So I mean, I'm sure it's one of those things. Like for certain teams, it's great if you have an advantage where you can switch on everything, right? Because like Houston had a great advantage last year, or most of the time with their teams, they could switch on everything because Tucker was usually playing center and he could guard the point guard, right? So most teams, it's great if they can do that. But in this scenario, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something from a basketball perspective here, but I just think, I think teams switch way too easily. Like I remember when in the finals of the Warriors versus the Cavs and KD came down on that shot he hit, right? And they just called for the switch and LeBron just easily said, all right, go ahead, you take him, go ahead. And he just backed the fuck off. Like KD was like 40 feet away from the basket. I just, those things I don't understand. I really don't.
It also makes like, because switching is such a common thing now, that's what makes a player like Bam Adebayo the most prototypical like NBA big these days. Like you can't have a lumbering guy out on the wing anymore. I mean, it should be over immediately. So that's why the teams are going small. I think Giannis played some 5, and they were talking about Budenholzer needs to actually focus more on that. Like going smaller just because of these types of things, needing to be quicker, need to be able to switch on the out on the perimeter. But yeah, just seeing Brook get exposed after he had such a great game, I think to close out the last series, to kind of have this be your finals, exposure was pretty bad. They'll fix it, but it was I felt bad for him, man, for real.
It's a tough situation because they obviously want to keep him on the floor to guard Ayton or try and contain Ayton, but and 8-8 last night, bro.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Great finals debut for him.
Paul was spoon beating him with some plays too, man. Yeah, man. But Paul was in Eden last night. I mean, he was in his bag. He had Brook, switched on him on so many plays. He just toying with that motherfucker.
Putting like Giannis on his hip when Giannis, overcommitted, and it just
that too, yeah. And then Portis, I think when Brook was out, Portis got switched on Chris Paul on a play, and I mean he put this motherfucker in quicksand. Yeah, like it just
was unfair.
There's nothing that you can do, and with the guy with a mid-range shot like that, there's nothing you can fucking do because you're just. I mean that's what Milwaukee tried to do last night. They basically played a drop zone, and we're like, okay, we'll give you this mid-range, but Booker and Chris Paul are 2 of the best mid-range shooters in the league.
Exactly.
It's just a bad
put the graphic
situation.
Up for playoff mid-range points. It was KD, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul.
Who was the second guy?
Bradley Beal.
You see it, right? You see it. He squeezes that shit in there, like so. It's remarkable.
Bradley Beal. Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal.
It's like when the advertisement wants you to hear that one thing, like Bradley Beal.
Yeah. Bradley Beal.
What?
This medication may cause symptoms of bleeding.
Anything to maybe get a little piece of Brad's next contract.
Oh fuck, man. All right, yeah. So there's some adjustments to be made. Brook Lopez is one of them. we're gonna lead into our second participation trophy. Again, part of this game here. Budenholzer got to do something about that bench,
Oof,
right? I mean that bench.
Ooh,
it's a rotation of 3 guards and Bobby Portis.
It's bad. It's so bad.
Yeah,
I'd say the last series, I was like, if Milwaukee didn't get past Atlanta, it would be their guard depth that would present a problem. I mean, we know what Holiday can do, but behind him, we have Brent Forbes and we have with Jeff T getting spot minutes.
Right.
You know, that's problematic. Those guys are small. Brent Forbes is a very streaky shooter.
Yeah.
Teague is just, you know, we know what Teague is at this point. I'm kind of surprised he's still in the league now, but they are really missing Dante DiVincenzo. Like,
right.
badly.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
They really need him because he did so much and he gave them a punch. Now, obviously, Holiday won't shoot as poorly. Again, I hope, you know, as he did last night. But yeah, their guard depth and their bench, their second unit, if you can really call it that, is going to be a problem, man. It's going to be a problem. And they don't have. They just don't have enough to withstand if Phoenix is on and hitting shots. They don't have enough scoring. They really don't.
What's really interesting about you bringing up the guard depth is that on paper, when you quantify it, they've got a lot of depth, right? Because we're talking about Middleton, Holiday, Connaughton, Forbes, T. That's like 5 guards right there, right?
Okay. Yeah.
What's interesting is that we complain about the lack of guard depth because there's just not enough talent there, but like I said, 3 out of the 4 bench players are guards. Who's spelling Giannis and Tucker? And like, what are the lineups are they throwing out there in terms of the front court? You, at one point, you're running 3 potential guards as part of your starting lineup, right?
Right.
Giannis,
right.
Tucker, and Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing else on the bench to kind of relieve some of that. So you're basically playing musical chairs with three bigs that already start.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those teams have similar issues. Like with the Bucks, they're staggering minutes for Lopez and Giannis. So Giannis might step out, then Lopez will be in maybe a little longer. So it's kind of a weird situation. And then with Phoenix, they don't like who is their big man depth.
Well,
right? They lost Saric, and who else they got? They got Frank Kaminsky.
Hey, they got my man Jalen Smith. Maryland about to come off the bench.
You got a similar situation there, right? Where you got Ayton and Crowder both playing starter minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then Kaminsky's only getting 3 minutes, and Sark's getting 2 minutes.
And then Crowder's guarding Lopez on some of these lineups.
Right.
I've seen
Right.
Getting killed.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all pans out. Do we have predictions?
Suns, baby.
I'm going Suns in 6. Although before last night, I felt like I couldn't call it at all. But sometimes you feel it with certain teams. Like I felt it with the Lakers last year, especially with Kobe passing. Like you just knew it was their year. Felt it with the Warriors before, even though they were loaded. I just feel it with the Suns this year. I just feel like, with Chris Paul, I don't think he's reached this stage to kind of flame out. Like I just feel like it's Phoenix's year. So I'm going Suns in 6.
I'll go Suns in 7. They'll take care of it back at home in Phoenix. I think that Phoenix crowd, doing good work on Giannis at the free throw line.
Ooh,
so you think the Bucks can pull off 3 wins?
Yeah, I think Giannis is playing out of his mind, and I don't even know if he was 100% healthy coming back from that hyper.
He started really well. I didn't know what to expect. He looked pretty normal.
Really good, but hopefully for Milwaukee's sake, they're probably hoping he can take it to another level. And like you said, Drew Holiday's not going to shoot. You would think 4 for 14 again.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can contain Chris Paul a little bit better. They'll try and get some games at home for sure.
Saying who you like.
It's just who I like is they're like I want to be right, but I also want the Suns to win. I want to say the Suns in 6, but for me, like on paper, I think the Bucks should win the series. I think they're like when I look at the Suns team, I'm like, okay, they have Chris Paul, but he's 36. He's not really in his prime. Devin Booker's their best player, 1A, 1B. He's still relatively young, and all their guys are really just don't have the playoff. I know Crowder's the only player I think in the series that's been in the finals.
Correct.
But the Bucks just seem like way more of a veteran team. So I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Suns because I want the Suns to win, but like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Bucks, can pull off and win in 5 or 6. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. But
you wouldn't be shocked.
I'm going the Suns in 6.
5 or 6.
I just feel like they have the better team. I just do.
Okay.
But
I actually agree with all 3 of you in some capacity. So I agree with you, Zane, that on paper the Bucks look better. I think Middleton and Antetokounmpo and Giannis have the capacity to just light up any team on any given night. Right?
Yeah.
And then you got Tucker and what he can do, the intangibles. Brook Lopez obviously has been playing well. To Jamal's point, I think Phoenix has that vibe though, right?
Yeah, they have the energy in the bench.
They have the energy, they have the bench, and they have Chris Paul. Again, to his point, I don't think Chris Paul makes it this far, this late in his career, just to flame out. So I think there's a vibe there with Phoenix, especially at home, to Neil's point, where I think that they ultimately, if they get to 7, they win that series off of, the energy of the crowd in Phoenix. Like, it's one of the only teams I've seen all year throughout kind of always prop up their crowd and just kind of be like, like unprovoked. They'll be like, "You hear that shit? You heard that shit tonight?" Like, I've heard Chris Paul and like a few players kind of say that a few times this year, where they just big up the crowd and the energy that they feed off of. So I'm gonna go with the Suns as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they win it at 6 or 7.
Chris Paul needs this ring, man. Like, I'll be utterly devastated, honestly.
If he got this far and didn't get one,
I'll just be really upset.
Yeah.
I've been campaigning for this guy for fucking ever, and it's always the same shit. Oh, he doesn't want a championship and all this, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day because I've had this argument with people before, like comparing Chris Paul to players. Chris Paul pound for pound, right? So I was looking into so pound for pound is like if every player is the same size, right? Mm-hmm. Every player is the same size, same measurables. Some people like Chris Paul would be, to me, the best player in the league. Like, skill for skill.
Yeah.
I just don't think anybody fucks with him. Like, he's, to me, the one player that doesn't really have any flaws, like, in his game. Like, he plays defense. He has a mid-range shot. He can hit threes. He's a great passer.
Yeah.
He doesn't. His assist turnover ratio is fucking insane.
He can't rebound for shit.
Chris Paul is the best point guard
since Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if he was 6'10", he'd be better than Magic Johnson.
What are you talking about? Scott Brooks told me Russell Westbrook is the second best point guard.
Oh Lord, you still drinking that motherfucking Kool-Aid?
Bro, that man's Kool-Aid was gone sour 3 years ago.
Yeah, so listen to David Koresh, Scott David Koresh Brooks.
God, David Koresh Brooks. Oh, I love a Waco reference. It shows my age.
It shows my age.
Okay. So consensus. Did we all nail the conference finals predictions? We all said.
Nah, didn't all y'all say Hawks?
Did we all say
Hawks? I had Hawks. Yeah.
All y'all fools had Hawks.
We all said Hawks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought
this man coming in here like, did we all nail it? No, y'all got it wrong.
No, but the injuries excuse us from a lot of shit.
Up, yeah.
All right.
What, Trae Young injury? They had a Giannis injury.
They're better without Giannis. I'm just kidding. That's the new thing going around. I think they're better without Giannis.
Patrick Ewing theory.
This is every year, man. That's some.
Yeah, they did it with John Wall. They did it with Bradley Beal. They do it.
Only those two guys. Nobody else.
Nobody else. Yeah.
I can only speak to what I've seen.
Yeah. Okay. Man of integrity.
Nice team win, as Marcin Gortat would put it.
Oh my God!
Everybody
spoon fed. Everybody eats. Spoon fed. Spoon fed.
Who else gonna shoot? All right, so we'll keep it semi off the court for the next participation trophy. We got to get into this one. Rachel Nichols. This is that Wesley Snipes New Jack City meme, right?
The tears with the gun, tears in his eyes and the gun.
Point out his brother.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Where do we start with this? Because I know that I
didn't know until yesterday something else happened. I thought this was just because she was being bias to the Rockets or some shit. I don't know what report I read like a week ago.
What?
I didn't know about this other shit that came up yesterday.
The Participation Trophy podcast. This is where you get your news.
Yeah.
All right. So we all know what. So the rundown is that a video of her speaking to one of LeBron's advisors. I forget his name. Kind of just having small talk and discussing a potential promotion of another Black colleague, Maria Taylor, that leaked out, where in a disparaging fashion, Rachel Nichols was talking about ESPN and the fact that they were feeling pressure about their, quote, crappy long-time record on diversity, which was the only reason why they were considering Maria Taylor to have a position, potentially Rachel Nichols' position on the jump and or the finals coverage. Nothing specific there, but to just quote Rachel Nichols real quick, she says here, I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you are feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, like, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. You're not going to find it from me or taking my thing away. All right. I got thoughts. I know we all got thoughts. Jamal, I'm gonna start with you.
This would be a good 90s movie where she like does like blackface and tries to like apply for jobs.
Sheesh.
Like Soul Man. You know I love that movie Soul Man. It's like the reverse of Rachel.
Right. Right. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna get canceled.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good, my bad.
That's the objective of the show, by the way, for all
to get canceled, to get noticed, to get canceled.
To get pulled off Apple's platform.
Yeah. And it's probably not going to start with Jamal here. So go take it over.
You know, when the story came out, I think it was Saturday that it came out. I immediately, when I read through it, I immediately jumped back to, man, there was a story about Maria Taylor just, was it about 2 weeks ago? And her asking for a bigger contract and, you know, her feeling, you know, like she was deserving of something more than what she was being offered. Little did I know the undercurrent was, you know, how Rachel felt. The undertones, the racial undertones are troubling, obviously, because although Rachel does not explicitly have to say it, the tone is that me as a white woman who's been longer tenured is deserving of this major stage. And Maria getting something else over Rachel, you know, smacks of like, you know, like it's done only for a specific reason, not her talent, right? That's the way it came across. And, you know, as a Black person, we constantly have to think about, is the perception if we get a great job, if we land something great, is it going to feel like we were like an affirmative action hire, or we don't have enough Black people, so let me scoot him and her into this role and make it look like we really care about diversity at the top at this executive level or wherever it is. So that's troubling in itself. Look, Rachel fucked that, but I have to kind of look at it from her perspective too. And I'm not taking her side. Obviously, I think what she said was wrong. However, she was caught on a hot Zoom mic. So if we're looking at the private self that's saying things in confidence to people that, you know, you wouldn't normally say in any other environment versus the public self, there's some things that we all say in private that would probably get us looked at really fucking sideways when it comes to if things got put on a major platform. So I think Rachel's apology was very blah. I mean, it was really short and it was, you know, really insignificant, to be honest with you. And she's getting a lot of shit dragged out now. Now she's on the butt of like all these rumors about what she did or may not have done in the bubble with certain players, which I think, you know, and she's going to continue to get dragged because, again, we are in an environment where young Black people in the workplace don't have to be quiet about what they view as something that's racially insensitive. And that's exactly Maria Taylor. Maria Taylor been very open. She didn't rate, apparently she didn't answer Rachel's call. She didn't respond to her text. I looked at some old Maria Taylor videos on her TikTok account, and she was like, "Talk your shit." Yeah, man. I mean, you don't have. There's no need to muzzle anything anymore. You can be more outspoken ever, and than you ever could in your career at this point in your life. So, I don't know what the next step is for Rachel. I know she's not on finals coverage, but I don't know how she.
So when they replaced her, did they give her something else to do? Does anybody know that or no?
No. So they were essentially. So the whole commotion started with Rachel Nichols would typically host the pre-halftime and post-game coverage, with whoever, Jalen Rose, Jay Williams, Woj. Yeah. They've given that role to Maria. At the time of whatever this audio came out, I think that was still in limbo. And so they had made a decision, okay, we're going to make Rachel Nichols the sidelines reporter, the Doris Burke role. And so that's what she was intended to do. But then all of this audio came out. And so they pulled her and replaced her
for that other cute thing.
Oof. Yeah, the cute thing for sure.
So let's go back to the conversation about Rachel, because I'm glad you started that off, Jamal, and I agree with you on everything you said. I think we can all agree that Rachel was wrong, right? Like, she disparaged her colleague, minimizing her consideration as a prominent host on the network, to it being a desperate plea by the company to fulfill their diversity obligations, right? Rather than to tout her as a qualified host, right? That part was wrong. I think you can agree to that without alluding to the idea that Rachel Nichols is racist, right? There's two parts of this. Two parts of Rachel's quote sticks out to me, right?
And says, one thing real quick is that you're forgetting about the one part where she had to laugh, right? Because the dude,
when the guy referenced
advisor, Rich Paul's advisor, he was like,
Black Lives Matter.
So, right. He was like, here's the thing. So
that's a good principle that I forgot about that.
Right. But so for me here, again, I'm trying to kind of dissect all this as fairly as I can, right? Rachel acknowledging that her company has a crappy long-time record on diversity kind of insinuates that she agrees that there is this issue and that it shouldn't exist, that they should be better with their diversity record, right?
Certainly. Yep.
That part of it right there is what stuck out to me once, is that she's talking shit about her own company and their lack of formalizing some sort of process to hire more people of color. And then the second part that stuck out to me is that the fact that she's defending her job, saying, taking that away from me. If it was put in a different way where she felt like Maria wasn't eligible or qualified for any job, and that she's being forced into a position just because of the color of her skin, then that would be a lot more problematic, right? But I think she was speaking on more defensive terms, where she was just speaking to an existing issue. Again, her acknowledgement of that issue kind of speaks a little bit more to me about where she stands, that she acknowledges that there's this issue exists, but I'm not going to allow you to try to fulfill an obligation by, at my expense.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong part, because what Rachel Nichols did there was she disparaged her colleague. She said that Maria Taylor is not talented, more talented than I am. And she's only being hired because of the color of skin. And naturally, when you tie that in, when you tie in BLM and Me Too and all that into a discussion, it's not a good look.
Well, here's the problem too, is that whether you like it or not, people are going to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah,
of course.
Out of the same sentence, obviously, right? So certain people are going to hear something one way, but to Black women, especially in this context, Black people largely, but Black women specifically, what they heard was Rachel saying, I am entitled to this thing because I've been here longer and I don't think anybody can take away my thing.
Right.
So this Black woman that's coming from my set of this thing I hold very dear, you're not qualified, even though you are qualified. You know what I mean? And that's something that bleeds through every part of society. So that's
I totally get it. Like I said,
And that's the part that was that part was irreversible. Once that was out there, they didn't hear anything. You can couch it however you want. Nothing else kind of came through.
Right. It's hard to contextualize something when you bring it out in that manner, the way she did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to me, it's a failure in all front. One, I don't understand what, like, so you guys said this was on a hot Zoom mic. Yeah. One, how fucking dumb are you? Right.
Right.
Two, if I'm an employer, I would obviously assume that the person would take this as a demotion, right? So, like, in my mind, was this, like, how was this communicated, right? You know, that's another thing right there. Like, the communication was, I mean, I think the difference in communication maybe could have saved her from this incident. I don't know how it was told to her. Three. So go ahead.
It was just put to her as, you know, Rachel was like, well, I'm going to see what they do now, right? So essentially, somebody probably posed it to her as something that could happen. Yeah. And she probably said, fuck that or whatever. And then it played out, whatever. ESPN said, well, whatever. Maria's going to do the thing. You're going to be a sideline reporter. Either get on board or get out. And
right.
And eventually all this spilled over publicly. And, you know, then they made the decision where, okay, we're going to pull you. You can still host the jump, which at the end of the day, like, if they took her off the jump, then they would be essentially firing her.
Yeah, she had nothing left. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. The worst part of the article, too, just the one last point is, the woman who captured the audio from Rachel,
right? They fired her.
And sent it. Well, she got suspended initially for 2 weeks without pay, and they demoted her. So when people read that on top of all the other shit, they'd be like, "Oh, this is really fucked up," you know? Because
that part was especially fucked up.
Yeah.
You can't do that to a whistleblower.
It's a really a whistleblower though, because she didn't.
So yeah, I guess she just kind of
she just fucking snitched. She just fucking snitched. I mean, at least get some money out, like hold like a ransom or some shit, man.
But the whistleblower, you know, was a young black woman who caught shit.
Right.
Of course, but what the hell? What do you think they're gonna do to you? They're gonna fucking fire your ass, like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just shitty. It's like the Olympics, like just shitty all around.
It is.
Everybody's getting fucked. Yeah. My last point was, I don't think Rachel Nichols is that good, so I'm not too concerned. But
she's I mean, let's be real.
But she's been there for a while. I agree with you on that.
But look, companies in general, whether it's media or something else, are trying to green their workforce. You want to get younger people in and start to move them up through the chain. The Wizards aren't. Yeah. You know, to make it some Neil shit to make it about the Wizards. I mean, they're not interviewing fucking Terry Stotts. They're trying to get younger blood up through the organization. And Rachel's good, but she's just a common name. She's a very familiar face.
Jimmy Butler begs to differ.
Man,
oh Lord,
I hope that's not true. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I might have to upgrade Cassidy Hubbard to replace Rachel Nichols after this one.
Yeah.
What was that?
I would love to hear more of these stories.
Yeah. These bubble stories are crazy.
Yeah. I remember I heard a story about like Michelle Beadle like had a crush on Aaron Rodgers, and like she was just super drunk like at a party, and she was just like, I need dick, like, and like while Aaron Rodgers was like nearby or some shit. I'm gonna get in so much trouble.
Completely off topic of that, but just to put a wrap on Rachel Nichols.
You can't piggyback off some sex shit.
Hey, that's a different story.
I cannot speak to the intercourse.
But Chris Rock had a funny thing about affirmative action, right? He was like, no black person wants a job that they're not qualified for. You know, if the white guy has the better score, okay, fine. They deserve to whatever.
Yeah. But if there's a tie, fuck them. You had a 400-year head start, motherfucker.
Dog. You just put Michelle Beadle. I forgot about Michelle Beadle.
That's what I was talking about, boy.
My Alexis, Texas.
Alexis, Texas.
Wow. Yeah. What a pull, man.
Yeah, and Tracy Wolfson. Ava Adams.
Oh my Lord.
Jeez. All right.
We are not putting this one on Instagram.
Yeah, that's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the highlight.
Oh man, I already wrote the timestamp.
Put the timestamp. Oh man. All right. Well, that's our takes on Rachel Nichols. What you got?
I'm just laughing at this article. All right, good. Carry on.
Oh my goodness. Yo, Open Gym is it's a fucking soap opera, man. We just talked about Rachel Nichols, Chris Paul and LeBron bumping heads a little bit. What do they call him? The part of the Banana Boat crew? Him and
him, Wade,
BP,
Carmelo,
LeBron, Wade, Carmelo. Yeah. So of course LeBron's been bitching about the condensed season. Of course, yeah. You already know like where the bias is.
Oh, where you're going with it, yeah.
Of course, this fucking bitch ass motherfucker LeBron James, man.
Yeah.
So
what do we need to do? We got to shit on LeBron every episode. Is that like
no, we don't. No.
Like,
yeah,
it's hard.
LeBron and conservatives.
Yeah, let's talk about the Wizards.
Tweet today, though? Skip Bayless put out a tweet said, "I miss LeBron."
Bayless is a fucking punchline.
And then one of my friends quote
My
retweeted.
dog.
It was like, "I know that is why I think it is. I know who it is. I think it is."
Oh yeah.
Listen,
All
Bayless is one step from being Lee Corso. Just the fucking joke, man.
You see Skip and his wife at Lil Wayne crib.
Oh, can we talk about Skip's wife real quick? Skip,
Ooh.
now Skip.
Have at
Now Skip.
Skip.
I see
Skip.
Skip. She weighs 78 pounds. Skip. She weighs 70 pounds.
Ernestine.
Yeah,
What a fucking name.
like she need to wipe
Ernestine.
a nose. Skip. Yeah, she's that bad, man. So, I mean, I'm just saying it might have been some residue in or around her.
I didn't zoom in that hard on the picture. You talking about the picture of her next to Wayne?
Next to Wayne, right?
There was some
Is she-
residue.
No, I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if there.
Oh,
were.
wouldn't be surprised.
Oh,
I thought you
damn,
zoomed in
man.
on shit.
She had the build of a recovering.
I saw her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
one of
yeah.
those.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Skip loves her. That's all that matters.
That's your Skip love.
Yeah. She looks like an age.
Skip seems like he would be a good husband. I don't know why I feel that way.
He's
I don't know
real
why.
passionate. Yeah,
Super
he's
passionate.
real protective of his wife.
Yeah.
Somebody said some shit to her in like the Texas Roadhouse reception area.
Yeah.
He like get real firm with the
It's
Yeah.
my turn. No.
It's my turn.
You,
She's been with me 20 years.
You've been sitting here for 38 minutes.
Yeah. When I got cut from the high school basketball team, she was there for me.
Skip.
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 All right. We derailed like a motherfucker on that one.
CP, LeBron.
CP, LeBron. So LeBron obviously has had his qualms about the scheduling of the NBA, the condensed schedule, 10 less games, 2 less months. And CP's like, motherfucker,
Christmas.
you were in the boardroom.
Yeah.
You were part of the discussions. You was on the Zoom calls. I don't care if you were on mute and fixing up tacos for your kids. You were involved.
But so
you were invited
to
to
be
the
fair, LeBron was the one that walked out on initial discussions.
Right. But again, at the end of the day, everyone
Yeah. They agreed to it. That's how it works.
I guess, but that's just money talks.
Everyone is addressed. Everyone is invited to these conversations that are part of the NBA PA. And so that was basically CP's response. Injuries are always unfortunate. You hate to have them. Everything that's good for this guy and that guy might not be the same for the next guy. Basically, that's what he was saying. And again, like he said, no, LeBron was not left out of any of these conversations. Even if he disagreed, he knew that this was the approach that they were taking. Speaking of Skip, I mean, the only reason why I'm bringing him up is because the first reference that Zane brought up in our chat when we brought this up on the agenda was a Skip Bayless take on Undefeated. And he mentioned, if you're talking about the guys that have been injured, particularly in these playoffs, the guys that we complain about not being there and missing out, KD, obviously he's had injury issues, injury prone, and B's been injury prone. Harden has had that hamstring issue for years.
All of these guys have
Kyrie,
Anthony Davis, yeah, and a lot of them are just like ankle twists and landing on someone's foot and
exactly. So I don't know how much leverage LeBron has in his argument. I get where he's coming from, and I think it's genuine. Where he understands the nature.
I just didn't like the tweet. I like this whole I told everybody this is what I meant. This and that. It's just like I don't know, and like the fact that he wasn't. I mean, he had congratulated like a bunch of players, like Giannis. Like he was watching every game, tweeting about everybody. Yeah. And the one person he didn't say shit about was Chris Paul. Like he was
his
obviously
tweets-
So
upset.
he did
his
after
tweets
game
were-
1 win though.
He did after game 1 because of the Heat
Sure.
and not the Miami
LeBron-
one.
LeBron's tweets.
The
LeBron's
Phoenix
tweets were
Heat.
like Scarface in the hot tub. Who put this thing together? Me.
Yeah,
Guess who?
Yeah.
Who do I trust? Me. That's what he. That's
Yeah.
basically what he said because he was like, "This is the best of the, but missing a ton of our. It's insane. If there's one."
And then he
person
said,
about the body,
exactly,
how it
about
works,
the human
it's
body.
me.
Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. When I read that, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you're the only person that understands this because you're doing something so fucking special and like everybody else is stupid. Like, what is that shit? Like, what the fuck was that?
Let's cut it off, man. We're about to lose Jamal's listener base. Here. He be telling me, yo,
Look,
listen, everything. Yo, just skip over.
Brian has
the
had
minute,
time
1
to
hour.
spend a lot more. He's had spend a lot more time with his son. He's been going to Bronny's games. It's good for him. It's good for him not to be in the
Yes,
playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, because like Skip said, I hate to bring him up.
Yeah.
If LeBron was in the finals, he wouldn't be complaining
Well,
about this shit.
Yeah, listen, hey, the
Not at all.
motherfucker complains about
He's
the
a competitor,
condensed schedule.
man.
Motherfucker complains about the condensed schedule, and then for the playoff qualifier game, motherfucker just quickly dyes his beard real quick.
Mhm.
He's only
Yeah.
about 10 years younger.
Yeah, that beard looked like the lint filter on my dryer. That shit was bad, man. Shit all gray. Yeah.
All right. The soap operas don't end there. This is not that big of a pull here in the news. But Brian Windhorst has been going at Luka Doncic for a couple years now. I know there's been,
It's been a while.
it's been a while, but I'm just saying the general consensus idea of who Luka is in the locker room with his teammates has been kind of consistent, at least amongst critics. I don't know if we've heard much from players and teammates and coaches, but the idea that there aren't many people that are excited to play with Luka. He's a difficult person, great player, but if you watch the Mavericks play, he's always barking at the coach, barking at his teammates, at the officials. We know about the officials. We see that all the fucking time. When his face just turns like fucking plush red.
Yeah.
And just on the brink of tears. And then Windhorst basically wraps up by saying he's an irritable guy. So Luka's dad responds in some interview and gives the most textbook Eastern European dad response. I don't know. Maybe this guy's biggest basketball genius. And then just kind of gives like a sarcastic laugh. This guy, he's a basketball genius.
This guy.
And if you see his picture, man, he looks like a crime boss. Like his motherfucker's been
all the
in some
motherfuckers
shit.
do.
Oh,
Like
he's
Joker's
like,
brother. Remember Joker's brothers came when he got
Yes.
the
Oh,
Yeah,
they look
like
fucking
it-
They look
scary.
the muscle.
sounded like they fucking
muscle. Yeah, he showed up with the muscle.
dismembered
No, but
bodies like before the game and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Did he
would've
have
fucking done
hands? Did he have face?
Did he have hands?
It was
Did he have
not
face?
us.
It was us.
It was not us.
Why always Boris?
I've been tired
Yeah.
of Windhorst for years, man. I just
He's a fucking nerd.
yeah, he's just
fucking
rolled off
goofball.
that LeBron shit, man. LeBron,
Bro,
like he owes his whole career to LeBron.
Oh yeah, when he left Miami, like this motherfucker moved to Cleveland, and from Cleveland, the motherfucker moves to LA. Like he's
Yeah.
outside LeBron's house, like sleeping in the fucking
Oh,
cot.
yeah.
For real.
Oh my god, the
On
fucking
his
dork.
balls all the time. Man. Remember he fell asleep on the air? Remember that shit?
Oh my god,
Shit was excellent, man.
just a nerd.
I couldn't believe it.
But this is typical. Like Chris Paul had the same problem early on in his career, and even still, like, players don't want to play with him because he's like Blake Griffin. Yeah, they don't like him. But like, if you look at these two players, it's because they're perfectionists, right? They demand the most out of their teams, and a lot of times they're on teams that are full of guys that he makes them look a lot better than they might be.
Sure.
So, I mean, this is kind of the complex that comes with it, but it comes with the territory, dude. Like, who does not want to play with Luka Doncic? I bet you a lot of NBA players and not these fucking dorks like Brian Windhorst. I think they would all want to play with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really what it comes down to for me.
Neil,
That's all there is to it.
that's all there is to it. Okay.
Players don't want to win. I guess that's what it is. Like, what the fuck is that?
People say the same thing about, Russell Westbrook. Oh, he's difficult to play with, but
He is difficult to play with. He is difficult to play.
But to someone like Scott Brooks' point, and not that I'm any much enamored of Scott Brooks, although shout out Scott Brooks' agent, getting him interviews for the Lakers and Portland Trailblazers assistant coaches jobs.
Yeah, I peeped that.
Yay.
Scott get a Lakers job, he's gonna win the championship before the Wizards do. Like shit.
As an assistant, it's not the same.
Still a championship, but
Oh my lord.
the players that don't like to play with certain personalities. Those are the guys that don't try hard, who aren't trying.
They want to collect a check. They just want to fucking have fun. Yeah.
And so fuck that person too. If you can't get on board with doing everything you possibly can to help your team win a championship, then deuces.
Yeah. You're telling me this guy is gonna run point guard and he's gonna find me open and give me easy baskets and help me make more money? Fuck that guy.
Right.
The John Wall Martell Webster special.
Oh, Martell. Oh, shit.
Let's move on, man. Hey, listen. Motherfucker's in his bag right now. Speaking of employed coaches, shout out to Nate McMillan for continued employment. 4 more years.
Continued
employment. Now, this was a big deal, man. They were wondering if the Hawks could pull it off and retain McMillan. Nate had a great season. He served as an interim coach. Hawks get their first playoff appearance in 4 years. Finished the season with a 27-11 record. First conference and division finals, conference finals since '69.
Nice.
And 14 since 1981 to reach the conference finals after a head coaching change mid-season.
Yeah,
so
that's the more gleaming accomplishment to me, is for interim coach to actually work out.
Yes.
Which almost never happens.
So good, yeah.
Good on him.
Has to be coach of the year.
You heard a lot about the togetherness of the team, and obviously to me that always kind of trickles down from leadership from the coach. So, shout out to Nate McMillan on that.
Wish you were in Washington.
Wish you were in Washington, but the Hawks got some things to address in the offseason. They really want John Collins back, but John Collins wants to make that paper. He wants the bag, man.
Money.
He wants that Rachel Nichols money. How much does she make? I gotta fucking know.
1.8 million. 1.8 million.
Yeah.
That's no way.
That's it?
Only $1 million?
Salary.
Wow.
She ain't getting no damn
She doesn't have any
Woj
fucking
10 million.
endorsements.
I thought she's like in the 5 range at least. Wow.
Okay, that's fair.
I could be talking out of my ass.
That's
you
very
just pulled
fair.
that shit out of nowhere?
She's from Potomac, Maryland. No, she is 1.5.
Yeah, she's a Montgomery County resident, native.
Yeah. Damn, I thought she got paid more than that.
you think Scott Van Pelt smashed that, Joe?
Shit.
Scott Van Pelt.
And the 24-year-old brown kid right here is still trying to.
I mean, if the streets are to be believed, she like black dudes, man. Fucking Taylor,
Streets
man,
are to believe.
All
She's
right,
47.
I'll get my tan on. Yeah, she's 47.
47.
So who gets the big contracts? Is like Stephen A. and
Woj.
Oh, those guys make a killing.
Right. They
Killing.
clean up.
Like
They
tens of
probably
millions
get-
of dollars. Well,
I
8
don't know
million.
about tens, but yeah, like 8 million a year. I
But
think
Stephen A.
Woj
Smith's
gets
doing like 10
million.
different things. He has his podcast. He has the ESPN stuff. He has, Skip Bayless is making, this is crazy, man. 32 million.
Oh,
Not a year.
4 year, 32 million
Right.
contract. Sorry. That's insane.
Scott Brooks money.
Good loaded.
All right. That wraps up the NBA talk.
And our 30 seconds on the
or
NHL.
does it?
oh, NHL.
No.
Go ahead.
Wrapping the NBA, but the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning win back-to-back Stanley Cups. Gentleman's sweep of Montreal.
That happened?
Games.
The Stanley Cup just happened?
Yep. Literally in the time that we're talking right now, live on a Wednesday night, Tampa Bay won the cup.
Yeah. It's just fucked up when you don't even know the pennant's happening, the climax of the season is like.
So Tampa Bay's winning, man. They got the Super Bowl champs, back-to-back NHL champs.
You remember when Tampa Bay the Lightning were an inaugural team, like in the
The
early
expansion
90s?
team,
And,
yeah.
the starter jackets.
That
and it has,
really
the-
like shitty logo. Remember that shit?
Right. No, but the starter jacket was lit. Like I felt like there was a lot of expansion teams like around the late 80s and the early 90s, right? Like the Hornets and the Magic,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Lightning, and then the Marlins too. Like
Marlins, Florida Panthers.
like the gear was pretty popular. I remembered a few people rocking even the Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Lightning
starter jacket, like
it was shit, man. It was. I disagree on that one, dog.
Yeah, I know. So it had, and I'm not gonna say it was all over the streets, right? But like there was
all over the streets,
all over the streets, like mixtapes. Yeah,
like there was a good number of people I remember.
The main streets of
Centerville, right? Yeah,
Centerville.
Yeah. I think just like the team colors, it was like a black and white, and I think
blue,
blue, yeah,
royal blue.
I just thought the cloud, the lightning bolt looked like some shit I drew during math class.
Yeah,
it didn't look. It wasn't lit.
Yeah,
wasn't lit.
I guess.
But yeah, all right.
All right. Well, we disagree here in Centerville. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. I won't take shots. That's cool.
All right, let's wrap up Open Gym. We got a big weekend coming up. McGregor, Poirier finally here. Part 3. Not without any drama. Zane, go ahead, man. What should we look out for this weekend? Who do you like?
I like McGregor. I think the second fight, I just feel like ever since that Mayweather fight, he hasn't been hungry. And like, how can you be like, after you make $100 million when you're coming from nothing? I feel like he lost some of that hunger. And he obviously, won a couple fights in between that, after that. But I think he wasn't really prepared as much as he should have been for the last fight. And he was also going up in weight. So I think a lot of his power didn't translate. But I think he's going to be way more prepared for this fight. And I see him winning this fight. But there's been a lot of hoopla coming on lately. I know he's posting like a DM from Poirier's wife coming in. And this trash talk was not happening in the lead up to the second fight. It was so weird. He was being very hospitable and respectful, and it was fucking weird. And I don't know if that affected him in any way. Like he was kind of in this
was it so that the fallout kind of was that from the donation situation where
so before the fight he said he's gonna make a donation to his thing, and then after the fight he's like he just never did it. Which I don't really know what to say about that. Like just fucking do it or don't say it, you know what I mean? But I know Poirier was pissed off about that. I don't know how much it's going to motivate him in the ring, like, fucking give me your money. Fuck you up. But the wife thing is interesting. It's very interesting. Some people don't respond. Some people get like in a fight you don't want to be too angry because you'll have blind spots, you know what I mean? So maybe that's kind of what McGregor does when he trash talks people. He gets them out of their element, out of their zone, and gets them to do something uncharacteristic. Like if anybody watched the lead up to the Aldo fight, the Jose Aldo fight, I know we probably watched it together, Abdullah, one time. It's a hilarious clip. He's just teasing him, like he steals his belt and then like runs off with it. Yeah, and just fucking getting his guy so angry, just pissing him off, right? Like just trying to bully him. And Aldo's, when he comes to the ring in his entrance, you can see how stiff he is because he's just fucking angry. Like he's just so upset and angry. And McGregor comes out, and it's the psychology is so interesting in a way that McGregor is teasing him. He's talking all this shit, but then when they get to the face off, he's stone cold, no expression. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very uneasy feeling, right? Kind of when a guy kind of switches up in that sense, right? Because you kind of realize you got played, you know what I'm saying, to an extent. And Aldo was so just angry. He came out and tried to throw a shot, and he got countered off the top and lost the fight in 6 seconds, right? Which was like one of the fastest knockouts ever. And Jose out, like it was just devastating, like all those months and months and months. So long story short, last fight McGregor didn't talk much shit. It was kind of weird, and now he's kind of bringing it out again. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to affect him and also Poirier's strategy, and see if it gets to his head a little bit.
So that's July. That's coming this Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah. This Saturday. It's gonna be a great fight. I mean, McGregor fights whether you hate him or love him. He's just fun to watch. You know, you're either gonna root for him, or you're gonna pay to see him lose, or stream to see him lose. Whatever you do. So, it's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah, even in defeat, the motherfucker just doesn't feel it.
Yeah, it's just no matter what he does. So,
all right, get your piracy up. Get your pay-per-views up.
Get them streams.
Get them streams up.
Them streams.
Them German servers are up and running this weekend. So
Germans.
All right. That's it. We got to get to theater real quick because it's been several weeks that Neil has been trying to squeeze out his review of Tenet.
No, let's skip it.
Yeah, let's skip it. Right.
I could care less.
He's like basically the red stapler guy in Office Space. His ass just kept getting reassigned and shit.
I would
So
burn
now Neil's in the basement of his condo.
But last time I didn't get to review Tenet, and I've been meaning to review Tenet for.
That's a good impression.
That's pretty good.
Last week it said I would review it.
So let's go ahead and get to theater before Jamal thinks there's something else to replace it. All right, Neil, you watched Tenet like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
The sci-fi action thriller film starring John David Washington, who I'm very iffy about as an actor. I
keep shitting on him, man. What's going on?
Why?
Something ain't right there. Have I shit on him before?
Yeah, you talked about it last time.
Last week you took a shot at him.
I don't know. It's something there. Christopher Nolan flick. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so that's, what drew me in initially, Christopher Nolan. I was like, okay, I'm a sucker for, the Dark Knight trilogy. Maybe this is something quick. It was literally just because, YouTube TV was doing a promotion. They're like, oh, watch this film on HBO for free on us. I was like, okay, I got nothing better to do. I got some food that I eat. I got some weed that I smoked. I need to watch a movie real quick.
Freeloading ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Hey,
HBO
I'm
Max
brown.
coupons and shit.
That was my chore when I was younger, clipping coupons out of the Sunday paper.
HBO Max vouchers and Groupons and shit for HBO Max and shit, motherfucker.
Oh, they got Groupons for it now? Oh, yeah, definitely slide that my way.
He's like, give me some movies to watch on Stars. My subscription expires in 48 hours. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this shit?
True story. But so, this movie is, kind of about, reversing entropy. And so you can do things, time shifting, time changing. You can do things in reverse. Me personally, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think by the end, okay, yeah, cool. It was a movie. I watched it. Would never watch it again. It's all about, okay, this doomsday in the future kind of shit where, they're trying to save the world. What other movie plot is there nowadays? That's why I was okay with it getting pushed off the agenda, 3 weeks running. I would have pushed it off again. We're going to talk about Fallen, but
Quick question for you, Neil.
Yeah.
And I think, Zane, we talked about this either in our chat or maybe we alluded to it on the show. Could you understand the film once the credits roll? Were you able to piece together the plot?
Shit.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Not without reading Wikipedia alongside.
Okay. So here's the thing. We'll have a discussion at some point where is it weak filmmaking when you just can't piece the shit together? Or is it like, because first movie that comes to mind is Mulholland Drive, which I got because I was on lunch break one day and I liked the way the DVD cover looked. And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. It's just try something. I was fucking sick. I had nothing to do. But and I was extremely confused through the entire movie. And I had to go read supplemental shit to figure out what the fuck happened. And they were
and
like,
I still didn't get it.
Movie. Yeah. So when I think of Tenet, and to your point, nobody I know enjoyed Tenet. They all thought it was confusing as fuck. They thought it was pretentious, like everything. So I was curious to see where you would land on it. So the fact that you didn't fuck with it either is not too surprising. That's disappointing because Tenet was the.
Do you guys feel like people actually get these movies? Because I never understand them, and I feel like a lot of people are just like, I think I get it, and that my mission's accomplished. The movie's is a success for me because I understood it, which to me doesn't equate to an enjoyable movie to me.
No, it
right?
doesn't. It doesn't. And I think most people, well, not most people, some people Yeah, but I think for the most part, people are lying if they say they do get it right away. I
It's
mean,
so
like,
fucking confusing. Yeah.
I have nobody to impress. If I don't get a movie, I just don't get it. I didn't get Inception when I first watched
I,
it.
I didn't get it either. I
It was
don't I
just-
don't
It
understand.
was just
It's
too
too
many
much.
fucking weird layers to it. I was like,
It's
I'm
too
good on
fucking
that.
much.
Yeah,
It's too
that's not
fucking
my
much.
type of film. But, all right.
Yeah. So the same thing happened. It was just funny. You brought up Mulholland Drive because I just posted about it maybe a few days ago. Because I reposted a scene on it, but then I was just, and there's a scene that just fucking blows me away from Mulholland Drive. It's like insane. Like it just blows me the fuck away. But other than that, I didn't understand the fucking movie at all either. And I had posted like, who wants to rewatch this shit with me? Because I need to fucking rewatch it.
Yeah, man. People are like, well, that's the way David Lynch is. That's the way his movies
Lynchian.
don't get it. And then it was like, the movie actually, like the end of the movie was actually the beginning. So if you start, I'm not doing that shit again. Like,
Yeah, I want to do it again because I'm.
Yeah.
People that said it was the greatest movie of all. I'm like, okay, it's not. I know that. I want to watch it one more time. Inception, I refuse to watch. I refuse to watch Tenet.
I'm just not.
Yeah,
I love Leo. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Wow.
Not a big Leo fan.
Yeah. I got real tense over here when you said that. So, sticking to the Washington family tree, Neil, you watched Fallen this past week.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
The
Denzel Washington flick.
James Gandolfini.
Oh,
man.
that movie?
Yeah.
Tony Soprano with a mustache.
What the fuck's going on? Are you trying to steal my bit? My in case you missed it bit?
Oh.
I'm coming for your job.
Fucking Fallen. John Goodman. Oh shit. Denzel Washington. James Gandolfini. Yeah. All right. Carry on.
So that was another movie where, it took me a little while to be like, okay, what exactly is going on here? They have this Azalea conflict.
Time on my side.
Yeah. They have a serial killer who, gets life sentence, goes on death row, dies. But then essentially, this spirit that overtook him to do these crimes, just infects somebody else. And it gets passed on either through touch or even if that person dies, they have a breath, a second to go and, overcome somebody else's body. And so there's this, essentially 2-hour movie with this Philadelphia cop. It's a horror / mystery kind of flick. Better than Tenet. Still wouldn't watch it again.
Damn.
I enjoyed the one, GIF now. I know where it's coming from. When Denzel Washington's like looking at the phone, waiting for the phone call. It's like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah.
So I know now I understand the background of where that came from, but besides that,
it was
not
okay.
some of Denzel's finest work.
Yeah, I like Fallen. I thought it was, pretty easy to follow. It had a little, supernatural element to it.
He makes those movies fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
He like
anybody else, and it would have been a total bomb.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think I saw Fallen twice, but it was cool to me.
I've seen it a few times. You know what it is like if you just have Denzel and he's like a decent guy and there's just a killer on the loose or there's like just a central he has a problem he needs to solve and like the walls are caving in. Like it's just fucking exciting to watch.
Yeah, always
just navigate through the shit. Like
that's a sweet spot. Yeah.
I know you were talking about earlier some of his choices, although he was still, this is the late 90s, he still was killing it at this point. This is like 98.
Yeah. Yep.
But then later on in the mid 2000s, he probably starts. There's some movies I don't think are good at all. Like people love Man on Fire. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But Inside Man was in the mid 2000s. I thought that was good, but it's not like a Denzel movie, right?
Every now and then he'll hit a pretty bad streak, and then he'll kind of salvage shit a little bit. Like, for every Roman something Esquire, then Flight. Yeah. I think I like Flight. I like Fences, but then I heard it. I didn't even see his last flick with Rami Malek, and
I saw it.
I heard it was bad, man. Was it?
It was like that was
That's
it.
just got like 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's not good. What's his name? Jared Leto is just weird.
Jared Leto, yeah,
he's a fucking over actor.
People were saying Leto and Malek should have switched roles, and that might have helped the flick along a little bit. Because I could see Rami Malek in that type of role, and Leto being kind of more of a straight man character.
I could see that. Yeah,
Denzel's kind of reached this point where he's probably going to be better off behind the camera. his movies. And
has he directed many movies?
I think he did a couple recently, if not straight up direction, at least a kind of a co-producer type of role. I think that's probably a good step for him next, because Denzel's kind of in one gear now in terms of the characters and what he gives on the screen. So he's a
you know what the new thing is though? Like everybody wants to be an action hero, like when they hit like 50 something, which I don't understand.
Yeah,
they've done like what, two of these Equalizer movies.
Yeah. And who are the old heads that can still do it? It's just fucking Tom Cruise, right? Like that's it.
Tom Cruise is just trying to kill himself on screen, I think, at this point. He's just jumping out of fucking airplanes and shit. I mean, Tom Cruise is fucking crazy, so that's a whole different discussion.
He is.
He's a fucking psychopath.
Jack
Which is, you know what's funny is Christian Bale modeled his American Psycho performance after an interview he saw of Tom Cruise
is that right?
on Oprah.
The
don't worry, jumping on the
couch.
I think it was the couch. Yeah, I think that it was what it was based on.
Oh, that's dope.
Tom Cruise. No, it was actually one on Letterman. He was on Letterman. He thought he seemed like a sociopath, so he based the character on that.
I love that shit. I'm a huge Christian Bale fan, so
he's super underrated.
That's my fan.
Man, that Christian
super
Bale
underrated
sound clip of him just going off on like one of the camera staff.
Oh yeah, in that movie, the Terminator one.
Yeah,
I love it. Fucking love Christian Bale.
All right. Some quick hip hop bits before we head out of theater. Happy 25th anniversary to It Was Written, the Nas' second album released back in July 1996. Illmatic or It Was Written?
Oh, come on. It's not that question.
Yeah.
It depends.
Only one of those two is a hip hop classic.
Yeah, one is a masterpiece. One could be a classic, maybe.
Okay.
I mean,
a lot of people. Okay, so here's
Abdullah.
The reason why I asked. No, it's fine. I agree with him. I prefer Illmatic over It Was Written too. But there's a group of people that listen to Illmatic like a few years after the fact, right? But listen to It Was Written first, and there's a big difference between Illmatic and It Was Written in terms of the content of the raps. Nas's actual flow was very different. Obviously, he had grown a lot. He had become a little bit more commercial by 96. So that in itself, the just kind of the way the album was put out in 96 was very different from 94. So 94, Illmatic, you appreciate it more for the poetry, the stories from the street, the imagery, so vivid, right? Like that's what brought Nas on the scene. That's what captured the ears of so many of these producers around that time.
I'll say this, it's hard when you get labeled as having a classic on your debut album and having to follow that up.
Yeah,
so I give props to Nas a lot for It Was Written was a fucking fantastic, and he captured that era like perfectly. Some people don't get off for their second album, like, or the shit is just bad. So Nas, It Was Written was a fucking fantastic follow-up.
And my question, exactly. And my question about whether you Illmatic or It Was Written, it was more of a preference question right now. Which is because some people just prefer It Was Written because of it's more relatable, or it's
more commercial.
More commercial, exactly.
Yeah,
it's just more commercial.
Look, he moved exactly the way he needed to as far as his career progression. So I don't knock anybody who likes It Was Written more. They're both really fucking good albums.
So I mean, do people separate? Like me, I like to separate. I can see why people would like it more. It's easier to listen to. But to me, it's more like 14 separate tracks as opposed to Illmatic's like this cohesive, like 35, 40 minute just piece.
I agree with that too.
Different, right?
Wu-Tang Forever doesn't sound like an album to me. It's a collection of just, I can run these 3 tracks at this time and then this and that, but it doesn't feel like, 36 Chambers. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Great point.
The better question is what's better, Stillmatic or I Am, or It Was Written?
Oh yeah, because I would. So I Am and Nostradamus I kind of scoped them out of
Yeah.
the
Nostradamus
best
is
Nas
where
album.
he
Yeah,
went way,
I am
way.
was decent. Nostradamus was horrible
Yeah.
by Nas's standards. And the Stillmatic was, the comeback player of the year kind of album,
Yeah.
where he kind of returned back to his mid.
I like that.
Form.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next hip hop bit, Juvenile. This was like a rumor that was circulating around Twitter for like a few days. The fact that Juvenile, it was like a running joke that Juvenile was making a remake of Back That Thing Up with a song called Vax That Thing Up. And lo and behold,
Love it.
it was no longer just a Twitter joke.
Too handsome young
Use
brother.
a hex.
Some young brother.
You know what I really appreciated about this track was that Manny decided to involve himself and do the second verse.
You need to get that fine. Oh my god. Need to get that Pfizer, no Labra. The fuck? That's amazing.
Hey, if it
gotta
helps,
love
it
it.
helps. At this point, we're hit such a plateau. We gotta get
And
every
listen,
shot
Go
we
ahead,
can.
Jamal. Go ahead. Sound off, man.
I respect Juvie. I don't know who the fuck paid for this. Was it the department, like Louisiana Department of Health and shit? But this is not gonna move the needle. You're preaching to a bunch of people who are not gonna get the vaccine. Period.
It would have been better if Dr. Fauci was on it in some capacity.
Like the old Cash Money size, just like a slow camera panning by. You got like a fucking wife beater on, like sitting outside of a fucking Cadillac DeVille and shit.
He should have done the little Wayne
Dancing
part.
with all the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is not changing public opinion.
Yo,
on the vaccine.
the Lil Wayne part. You know I gotta play the Lil Wayne part, right?
Yeah. Wobbity. Who the fuck is that? Some dude named Scott.
Oh god, yeah.
Who the
Go
fuck?
ahead, Neil. Go ahead, plug it in.
Scott,
Plug it in
go
right
ahead.
now. Go ahead, Scott.
Scotty Brooks getting that shot.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic.
some dude named Scott.
So yeah,
Too
that
good.
joint, this little bit right here, we could have stretched it across theater,
Yeah.
detention. We might throw it in the playout song. I don't know yet.
Man, God bless him, man.
Whatever works, man. Whatever helps the cause, man. Get your fucking ass backs, man.
He's going to miss out on
man.
Scott.
Don't miss out on Scott. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Detention's up. All right. So, last week, I believe it was, a Pennsylvania courthouse decided to overturn Bill Cosby's sexual assault conviction.
Because he had a deal.
He had a deal. Apparently, there was a prosecutor that it was written that said that he shouldn't be prosecuted. It's a little bit past my, like.
Basically, he was made a promise by an attorney that if you basically came out and shared all the details of your numerous sexual assaults,
there was a civil suit and there was a it wouldn't be able to the deposition and the civil suit wouldn't be allowed to be used in like the criminal
it actually was
which
was the guy was one of Trump's impeachment attorneys for the second impeachment.
Oh Lord.
That's
I just won't go away.
Yeah.
Just won't go away.
That ends up his longtime co-star from the Cosby Show, Felicia Rashad, comes out and says, finally, a terrible wrong has been righted, a miscarriage of justice corrected. Comes out full on defensive of the situation. Again, I mean, it goes without saying why she's in this motherfucker right now. Here we go. Go ahead.
It's just a shitty like all the issues we're talking about today is just shitty all around, right? Because same thing with this shit, right? Like I think all of us know, like the big argument this week is he did it, but he was innocent, right? That's the whole thing that's going on now, right? In terms of, well, he wasn't proven guilty, so he's innocent, even though we all fucking know he did it, right? Which he admitted to in that deposition. You know what I mean? It's not like he was like a 14-year-old kid from Brooklyn who was like interrogated for 8 hours and cracked, right? He obviously fucking said he did it. So now a lot of people like Felicia Rashad or Judge Joe Brown or fucking Judge Judy, whoever the fuck, you know, are latching on to this on the legal aspect of it, which I think obviously is a fucking shame, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a shame. It's a shame, one, that the legal system is operated in this way, right? That he was put in prison for he got fucked over. Cool. Like if you just isolate that part of it, it's also fucking stupid that the guy who, you know, he could have been put away for other reasons. This guy fucked it up, right? By basically lying to him and, you know, making him this promise and then completely fucking it up. And then you have the fucking victims who aren't getting their justice either, right? So, and Felicia, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. I'll let Jamal pick up on that.
I'll get into it. Old black people are being problematic again.
Yeah.
And Felicia Rashad, what she did was gave what should have been a private message to Bill about how, I guess she's, you know, from nostalgic take, is happy that he is free again, but she put it on the absolute worst platform.
Yeah.
And
lobbed it up.
She
Spoon-fed.
totally didn't read the room. And, you know, she also just got a job at Howard University over, I think, the Fine Arts School.
Yeah. She was a Hillman before, right?
Yeah, she's a Hillman. So now she's giving a very, very, very unpopular opinion to basically you know, an audience of sexual assault survivors and, you know, friends and family, people who survive sexual assault. I mean, it couldn't be more like, you know, like I said, problematic, you know, from kind of top to bottom. She tried to clean it up. It's too late. Howard's given her like some sensitivity training, as if that's really going to make a difference. But, you know, again, didn't read the room, completely glossed over the fact that Bill admitted to doing some terrible shit. I know we talked about cancel culture before. It's one thing to be, to have kind of a misplaced, you know, to get looked at for cancellation for something that was maybe a little weird at the time. For example, if somebody said the word Negro back in the day, but that was a socially acceptable term, you know, you can feel a certain way, but that was the norm at the time. I don't know when it was normal to drug and rape women. That's never been normal.
No.
That's never been legal and like nothing like that. So giving Bill a pass on that shit is really fucked up. Felicia Rashad fucked up. I mean, we have to be comfortable saying that. I don't care if we love these people or not. And then also, Bill doing his OJ Simpson shit, trying to do a docu-series and going on a comedy tour now. Like, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck? He's like 9. What the? I don't understand.
So, yeah, it's fucked up all around. Like
it's a very interesting dynamic because I know I read an article today too. It was like, I think it was about Ahmad Rashad's like wedding photos, and he had, I guess,
yeah, OJ
Bill,
and
OJ and Bill Cosby. That's groomsman. And they asked him about it. He's like, I don't see anything but me and my ex-wife. He's like, I don't even fucking see those guys. I don't want to do with them.
We see them, buddy.
Yeah. Oh my lord, man! Dumb people just fucking piss me off. Like I have like a bunch of dumb people on my Instagram, and like as soon as this happened, it was like, I told y'all this was like instead of saying
Don't
like
get me
he got off on a
started, man.
technicality, it's like I told y'all he was innocent. This
This
is all
horrible like bullshit thing that he was trying to buy NBC.
NBC,
and that's why they pulled the
this
rug
whole
from him.
fucking plan.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
It's the same thing with Deshaun. Oh, well, they don't want Deshaun Watson to lead the Texans, so they hired 20 massage therapists to fuck.
Like, nah, man, he just fucked up. That's all it is. Like, there's no conspiracy. He just fucked up. Let's call it what it is.
He just fucked up 78 times.
Yeah. He's a fucking pervert, man. Like, it is what it is.
Oh,
It's just it kind of goes back to what Bernie Mac said in his interview when they asked him about Cosby, and he subliminally kind of answered and saying, these motherfuckers aren't who they look like they are in public.
Nope.
There's a lot of shit going on in the background. That's pure hypocrisy.
They're all fucking weirdos, man.
They're all
These
fucking
say
weirdos,
like
yeah.
problematic faves. All your favorites are problematic.
They're all problematic, yeah. And that's what they always say. You never want to meet your heroes. Because you never want to meet your heroes. I never want to meet Dan Marino because he's gonna say some shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's okay.
Yeah. No, but you get it, right? Like you never know the real the perception of them to the public is totally different from what
as soon as they said Ellen was like a crazy fucking bitch, I knew it.
Right.
It was over.
Crazy.
It was fucking over at that point.
That was it.
And then the Bill Cosby thing too. Obviously, like I fucking grew up watching this piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then I read all this weird shit. Like there was a story of him and like on the Letterman show, and like he forced some like female staff lady on David Letterman's show to watch him eat curry.
Yeah.
Before he went on the show, like he just had to sit down and watch him eat curry.
I mean,
like Ellen,
there's no ambiguity about Bill because I think he was on Larry King Live explaining it, like how he put Spanish fly in women's drinks. Like,
oh my god,
no, there's no cloudiness about what he did.
Yeah.
Like
he said it, Quaaludes. What he did.
All right, man. All right, I'm gonna need a shower after this fucking bit, man. We're gonna head out from there. Listen. I don't know where the fuck I was going with this shit.
Listen.
I'm gonna start with this. Hey, listen.
Duh.
Where applicable. Oops.
Put it back.
I'm struggling to end this shit out, man. Hey, listen. We're gonna leave it at that, man. You can't defend this shit, no matter what. Don't ever meet your heroes. You never know what's behind the curtain. Free Sha'Carri. I'm not even going to say free Rachel Nichols. That was on the tip of my tongue. I'm not going to say that now on the show.
Can we get a Rachel Nichols, Felicia Rashad podcast?
Yeah, there you go. That's what we need. That's what we need, man. Casper McGregor Poirier this weekend. For Jamal, for myself, for Neil. I'm just going at random right now, pulling names out of hat. For Zane, for Joe Glow, for everybody, for Scott Brooks, Participation Trophy Podcast. We up and out.